Retro Review. I'm Chad. He's Matt. This review is brought to you by RealNerdCorp.com. Go check us out for all our wacky crap throughout the week. Here's what we do. We review a game every week. This week it's Virtual Bart, continuing our marathon of Bartness. And we grade these games out in 5 categories in durations of 1 to 5. No game can be lower than 1. No game can be higher than 5. Every category must be numbered 1 through 5. The 5 categories are graphics, which is how the game looks, sound, which is how the game sounds, including music and sound effects and anything else that would fall into that peripheral. Gameplay is how the mechanics of the game actually work, and if they, in fact, do work or not. Fun factor is the enjoyment that we have within the game, and that's completely subjective. While challenge is our desire to play this game based on how fair it is, how balanced it is, and how much it can keep us engaged long term. With that being said, I'm going to throw it over to my colleague, Matt. Matt, start us off with graphics. What are you giving it?
I actually enjoyed the graphics so much. I think this is one of the more highly polished ones we've seen so far. I really enjoy how really close it is to the actual show. The variety of levels and the way the different themes they throw on. It's pretty enjoyable to look at. The animations in some aspects are a little rough, but it's serviceable. It's good. Um, I enjoyed it quite a bit, so I think I'm gonna go high on this one. I think I'm gonna stick it as a 4. In terms of sound, I like the fact that these games are now starting to progress into having different, soundtracks, different themes for each stage. It's nice to hear. A lot of this was mediocre at best, though. No true standouts. Some of the sound effects themselves were silly. I like that aspect, like some of the goofy things that, some of the characters would say they're iconic and they fit The Simpsons pretty well, so that works well there. I would say fairly average still overall, and I'm going to go with a 3. When it comes to gameplay, it's a mixed bag. And especially for it being a mini game collection, I'm kind of like, some are okay, some are almost relatively unplayable. Some are really fun though, and the true standouts keep this game at an average pace. And I enjoyed a lot of the platforming aspects of this game. And there was actually some variety in the other aspects too, which was fun. And it's all functional. It works to a degree. There's nothing truly totally bad about it. So I think I'm going to stick with a 3. When it comes to fun factor, I would say I had fun with about half of the games in this collection, and the other half, they're throwaways, and sometimes they get confusing, and some of it's hard to understand, and some of it doesn't really feel all that fleshed out or enjoyable. And again, I'm kind of sticking with the 3. And challenge, it's relatively easy. Everything has basically one objective you have to do. It's just how do you approach the objective. And I would say it's rewarding in that aspect because there is satisfaction in getting through everything you get through. But it's not perfect, but it's definitely not bad or anything. So I think I'm going to stick on the 3.
That means it's my turn to go through this pony show. Graphics, I like the graphics. The graphics are really nice. I would say that there are points where you can kind of tell the graphics are a bit rugged, but considering the console we're on, the era of graphics that we had, I think these are about as best as you can get. And that's kind of what you need to realize when you're reviewing these old games, or any games. You have to review it for the time period that it is and not for what you have expectedly today. So I have to give the graphics a 5. I'm blown away with the creativity, the use of the in-game characters, not the in-game characters, the in-show characters, and all the funness that goes in with that. So definitely a fan of the graphics. For sound, I'm with you. Like, the music really doesn't exist. I didn't really hear anything that stayed with me. But I think the sound effects were fine, especially for the era. So I got to give it a 3. Gameplay, I did not play any. I didn't play the whole game. I didn't play any of the levels that I think may have hindered my score then, because I thought the gameplay was really good for what it was, which is a multi-purpose platformer, which I'm never a big fan of. So, with that regard, I have to give it a 4 as well. Then that takes us to fun factor. This is classic era. Simpsons. Everything about it is awesome. Everything about it works. Everything about it is cool because it's when the Simpsons were on top of the world. So I got to say that I had a little bit of a nostalgia kick. So I'll give it a 4. it definitely was interesting, and the way they went about doing the gameplay with the virtual reality headset was a real cool idea. It was nifty, so definitely a 4. As far as challenge though goes, I don't disagree with anything. It's definitely one of those games that I think it does have some issues, but it held my attention for at least a half an hour, which is more than I can say for a lot of these games. So I have to at least give it that. So I'll give it a 3. Overall, that gives us a 17.5 out of 25. And that gives us a final score percentage of. That's not right. Hang on. It's 70. There we go. That is right. There. I knew I did something wrong. So the final score is a 70, which is a highly recommendable game for how we grade these. So if you have a chance to play Virtual Bart, we recommend that you do. If you want to know our actual stances on these games, we do have a website up, realnerdcorp.com. You can check all the game scores for all the games we ever played. Plus, we do have a menu up there to give you an idea what each game score gives you and what exactly it falls into. Anything that gets a 90% automatically goes into our Hall of Fame. So kind of just keep an eye out for that. So with that being said, he's Matt, I'm Chad. We're going to hop on over to twitch.tv/realnerdcorp. And we're going to talk about some movies and games and dumb stuff for the Nerdcorp podcast. So go ahead and take a turn over to there. Otherwise, Matt, take us home.
Good night, everybody, and we'll see you next week with another review.